But it's very dangerous to pick somebody outside of a politician because a politician's been basically vetted for years.
Right.
You pick a business guy.
CNN reveals Matt Gaetz dropped out just after they confronted him with sordid underage sex allegations. Boy, that didn't age well. Hey, what's up, world? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Stupid. Or, as you can probably see in the title, This Week in Trump. They're pretty much synonymous. As the title suggests, we're going to start this video off with covering mostly Trump news articles. However, don't worry, this will not be a Trump-centric video. I will be covering many other articles filled with all kinds of stupidity and madness. But let's begin with the Trump articles. So, of course, as everybody has heard, we got this guy, Matt Gaetz, that Trump wanted to make the Attorney General the most powerful law enforcement officer in the United States. And boy, did that quickly backfire. And I gotta ask myself, how did Trump not hear about this stuff? I mean, they apparently have been investigating this for a couple of years now. And by investigating this, I mean trying everything they can to sweep it under the rug. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this article. I just find this to be absolutely hilarious. It really shows that Trump is a horrible judge of character. Or maybe that's actually me giving him too much credit. Maybe he's actually a really good judge of character. It's just that he himself is a really bad character, so he ensures that he picks and chooses other really bad characters. And what's even more hilarious is Matt Gaetz claiming that he's innocent. He's all, I'm innocent. Well, boy, buddy, are you not behaving like an innocent person? If you're innocent, why did you try everything you can to withhold this investigation? I mean, he immediately dropped out of Congress and he's like, yeah, that'll stop the investigation from going on, or that will stop the investigation from reaching the public. You got this article from Matt Gaetz after he dropped out of being Attorney General. Now he's trying to have this smooth guy appearance. You can see his hair is different. He's trying to look a little bit more clean cut. And my favorite thing about his appearance here, the thing that stands out the most, at least to me, because I'm paying a little bit of attention here, I'm not sure if anybody else is going to notice this, but he's wearing glasses here. He's wearing seeing glasses here. Type into any search engine images of Matt Gaetz. I can guarantee you're not going to find a single image with him wearing glasses. He looks completely different here. He's like, oh yeah, maybe if I make myself look like a trustworthy person, then people will believe I'm a trustworthy person. So Matt Gaetz says he'd be in prison if the sex smears were true in first interview since withdrawing as Attorney General pick. Oh really, Matt Gaetz? Do you think Americans are so stupid that they don't realize that we live in a two-tier justice system? Well, if you happen to be such a human being who actually believes that we don't live in a two-tier justice system, let me just remind you of a little person named Jesse Smollett. Because he happened to be in the news recently too. I'm sure a lot of people didn't see this. So let's talk about this. Jesse Smollett, special prosecutor, blast Illinois Supreme Court for ignoring evidence to overturn conviction. So essentially what happened is there had this special prosecutor who wanted to reopen this investigation because there's plenty of evidence to show that the first investigation into him was ripe with fraud and corruption. So, they were trying to prosecute him again because it's very obvious what he did. And the Supreme Court was like, no, you can't do that. That violates double jeopardy laws or our right to not be tried twice. So that's what happened with Jesse Smollett. I'm not going to read anything from this article. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, he's going to be getting away with what he did. Complete fraud. And what's hilarious is Jesse Smollett has a very similar personality or a very similar reaction to his case that Matt Gaetz has. So Jesse Smollett, after the first time that the charges were dropped, he came out and he had a video and he was all like, yeah, I'm innocent. I'm just, a victim. And he was trying to act like he really wasn't guilty. Just like this sleazeball over here, Matt Gaetz. Let me see if I just want to see his face without the play button over it.
So Matt, I now have...
Because boy, does this guy just look like a slimy sleazeball. And by the way, the accusations against him is not just that he was sleeping with this underage girl, and I believe there's actually more than one of them, but there was also the accusations that he was basically going to, these sex parties, these drug-fueled sex parties, and oh darn, that's what I forgot. I wanted to have like a Diddy article here. Oh man, do I not have that Diddy article? It might be here actually. I have a bunch of tabs open at the top. Maybe I just didn't organize it in the right spot. But one of the lawsuits that Diddy's facing is that he did some very inappropriate thing with a 10-year-old. And of course, I think everybody knows what's going on with Diddy. These drug-fueled sex parties. These people are debauched individuals. They have zero integrity. All they're about is pleasing themselves. They are self-indulgent. I have a lot of other words I can say with that, but I'll just leave it there, okay? Because I'm trying to curse a little bit less in these videos. I know sometimes I speak like a sailor. I swear, I promise you, that I was a sailor in my last life. It's possible. So don't hold it against me. If some people can think that, they're this thing that they're not, then maybe I can say that in a previous life I was a sailor. So don't judge me in this life. Have sympathy for me. I am a victim just like everybody else. Anyway, not only is this guy Matt Gaetz a total sleazeball, but it seems like other Trump picks are also total sleazeballs. Police report reveals sordid details of sex assault allegation against Trump Defense Secretary pick Pete Hegseth. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Hegseth. The woman who accused Pete Hegseth of sexual assault claims something may have been slipped in her drink before he took her phone and physically blocked her from leaving his room, according to a police report. Interesting. P. Diddy was accused of doing the same thing, date raping people. Seems a popular thing amongst these elite, with quotes around them. They're anything but elite. They're definitely not the elite of humanity. They're probably the elite of the lizard people. I don't actually believe in lizard people. But they're very slimy, like a bunch of lizard people. So this is this guy, and you can tell he's, we the people, man. I have so much integrity. I love America, but I got no problem with potentially having done this stuff, according to the accusations. I don't want to say that he did it, because, these slime balls, they'll go after you. Anyway, let's go to our next article. Trump allies warn Britain would face U.S. reprisals for helping international court arrest Netanyahu, as Home Secretary says UK respects warrant against Israeli Prime Minister. That's right. This guy's committing crimes. He's basically conducting an illegal demolition of like all the areas around him. Like if you look at the way that they're bombing, and it was really apparent like when they were going after Palestine, like when they began bombing the Gaza Strip, they were just leveling these buildings. I know Israel apparently has some connections with another illegal demolition. Well, not like all Israel, but the corrupt politicians that lead it. I'm not saying that all of these people are this way. I don't really believe in prejudices or like grouping all people into one group and then judging them all that way. But their government definitely has some other illegal demolition accusations levied against them, if you know what I mean. I think a little something that happened in 2001. Yeah, I think it was something like an illegal demolition. I can't make out the exact details of it, but they seem to be obsessed with sneaking explosives into places that they don't belong, like they did with the pagers and the phones. And they also seem to have a hanker for illegal demolitions, which is basically what they're doing right now, or at least they did it in the Gaza Strip, and now they're doing it in Lebanon. There's some interesting videos coming out of Lebanon of like entire apartment blocks being completely leveled. And they're like, oh yes, this is a Hamas stronghold. It's like, are you sure there weren't mostly innocent civilians in that building? Just seems odd. Anyway, let's move on to our next article. I really don't have a lot of time. So let's get started. Trump picks pro-tariff billionaire Scott Bessent for Treasury Secretary. Now, this one I have to read a little bit of, right? So Donald Trump has named hedge fund executive Scott Bessent as his Treasury Secretary. Bessent is known to be a supporter of Trump's policies, including the introduction of tariffs, and has advocated for tax reform and deregulation in order to spur more bank lending and energy production. What they mean by that is like a higher national debt. We need this tax reform. We got to lower the taxes, keep the spending high, so we can get that national debt nice and through the roof. It's already, I think, what is it? I think the interest on the debt is already like our third greatest expenditure right now. They're trying really hard to make it our number one expenditure. That way that they can start doing what the Anti-Federalists predicted way back in 1787. That's right. For those of you who don't know, who aren't familiar with my Anti-Federalist videos, This group of founding fathers, known as the Anti-Federalists, they were a group that were actually against the Constitution. They warned about the dangers of the Constitution. And they predicted, way back in 1787, pretty much everything that's going on today. And one of the things that they predicted, accurately so, was that we would have a large national debt. And they believed that we would have a large national debt, or that the powers that shouldn't be would use that large national debt to consolidate power to the federal government. Because the federal government has this awesome tax power, this almost unlimited tax power, and because their tax power has precedent or authority over the state tax powers, the Anti-Federalists believe that they would use a large national debt to basically pull power from the states. Basically, we'll get to a point where we will not be able to afford paying the national debts and the state debts, and things will have to get consolidated. And, it's sort of like an excuse that they use for the Constitution. For those of you who don't know, one of the reasons that they pushed the Constitution, they were like, oh yeah, we have a debt, and we need to work on our tax power so we can pay off this more debt. Anyway, I'm sorry for the many digressions, but the Anti-Federalists accurately predicted our large national debt, and they said that it would be used to give the federal government more power. And that's the direction it looks like we're going. But anyway, let's keep reading this article. The appointment announced on Friday evening places him at the helm of a cabinet position with vast influence over economic, regulatory, and international affairs. If confirmed by the Senate, he would be the nation's first openly gay Treasury Secretary. Writing on Truth Social, making the announcement, Trump explained Bessent's credentials. I am most pleased to nominate Scott Bessent to serve as the 79th Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. Scott is widely respected as one of the world's foremost international investors and geopolitical economic strategists, Trump began. Scott's story is that of the American dream. Scott has long been a strong advocate of the America First agenda. Yeah, okay. On the eve of our great country's 250th anniversary, he will help me usher in a new golden age. Oh, I didn't know that it was the 250th anniversary. That's interesting. Usher in a new golden age for the United States as we fortify our position as the world's leading economy, center of innovation and entrepreneurialism, destination for capital, while always and without question maintaining the US dollar as the reserve currency of the world, Trump wrote. Oh yeah, that's definitely going to happen with our massive national debt, for sure, buddy. Definitely going to happen. And our spreading war, destruction, and now it's going to be a trade war. We're going to ramp that up. I mean, maybe the other countries have no choice but to follow suit and fall in line, but we'll see what happens there. I don't think it's going to look too well. The announcement came as Trump also said he would nominate Russell Vought to lead the Office of Management and Budget, a position he also held during the president's elect first presidency. But check out where this is going to go. Bessent, a longtime hedge fund investor, taught at Yale University, home of the Skull and Bones, for several years. Wall Street had been closely watching who Trump will pick, especially given his plans to remake global trade through tariffs. Bessent was picked from a crowded field of candidates for the coveted role. That list includes these assholes. Investor John Paulson has also a leading candidate, but dropped out. They're all assholes. Anyway, let's get over here. Actually, wait, Bessent, 62, primarily lives in Charleston, South Carolina, with his husband and 2 children. He grew up in the fishing village of Little River, South Carolina, where Bessent has said his father, a real estate investor, experienced booms and busts. Bessent worked for noted short seller Jim Chanos in the late 1980s, and then joined, guess who he joined, everybody? I know you can see it there, but just pretend you can't see it there. Pretend for a second that you can't see it there, so we can have this thrilling moment, drum roll, when he joined Soros Fund Management, the famed macroeconomic investment firm of billionaire George Soros. That's right, this guy is a pawn of George Soros. So he's taught at the home of Skull and Bones, and he's connected with George Soros. Seems like a great pick. Very predictable for Trump. Good job, Trump. Very, very respected person that you picked there. Let's move on to our next article. Trump makes his decision on top FBI pick Mike Rogers after furious MAGA called him Deep State. He is the deep state. What is the deep state? It's everywhere. I guess it's not so deep, right? And it's funny because this supposed deep state is everywhere, but they're like, it's deep. It's not the entire state, I swear. It's just a portion of it, and it's very deep. It's not absolutely scattered everywhere. It's not ubiquitous at all. It's deep. It's underneath. It's not an overt thing that exists obviously everywhere. No, it's just this deep thing. No, it's everywhere. And guess what? Your pal Donald Trump is a part of it. And we got this guy's the FBI director now. Oh man, actually, I really hope this article's here. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be here. Awesome. I did have this other article that I thought was not here. Oh man. Sorry, everybody. I work basically 3 jobs. This is like my 3rd job I don't even get paid for. So I'm a little stressed right now, a little scatterbrained, so forgive me. So, New York Post, McDonald's spends millions to lure customers back after deadly E. coli outbreak. Oh, wait a second. Did I make a mistake here? Why are we talking about McDonald's? Oh, that's right, because I'm actually making the connection of this article. This was November 17th. And look at that. This article, November 17th. Oh, look at that. RFK Jr. poses with Big Mac and Coke on Trump Force One after pledging to make America healthy. Come on, guys. I can't believe millions of people are falling for these people. I mean, if you just put these people in a lineup, I hate to judge a book by its cover. But if I just saw this guy, I would just be like, yeah, I'm staying far away from that dude. Actually, most of these people. I mean, most of them, they make me sort of believe in the whole lizard people thing. I mean, because they just look like lizard people. I'm not saying that they're ugly. I'm just saying you can see it in their eyes. It's not because of their haggard skin or anything like that. They just look like soulless, heartless, cold-blooded psychopaths. If you ask me, and their behavior and their actions also dictate that. So yeah, that's right. He's going to make America healthy again. He posed for this, and it was right at the same time that McDonald's was spending millions to lure customers back after a deadly E. coli outbreak. Interesting how nobody made this connection. But don't worry, that's why you guys have me here, working for free for your infotainment. Let's move on to our next article, which of course has unfortunately crashed, so we'll just load this bad boy back up. So we got this article here titled, Majority of Americans Approve of Trump's Plan and Policies for the Future. Interestingly enough, though, if you actually read this article, you'll find that it's actually split in half. So we got 88% of Republicans and independents who lean Republican approving, and then 82% of Democrats and Democrat leaners disapproving. Now, the interesting thing about this article is if you go over to this article, our very next article, which of course has also crashed, they're trying to make sure I can't actually record this video in a proper way, but that's fine. I have fun with it anyway. So can Trump deliver on 2 big but contradictory campaign promises to women and families? Let's read a little bit of this article. So President-elect Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail to get men out of women's sports and eliminate the federal Department of Education. He seems intent on keeping both promises, but how? In announcing Linda McMahon, Small Business Administration chief in his first term, his pick to lead the department Wednesday, Trump declared, "We will send education back to the states, and Linda will spearhead that effort." Women's-only spaces are guaranteed under Title IX, which the Department of Education's Office on Civil Rights enforces, usually by withholding federal funding from unlawful institutions. Right there, everybody. Okay, it's a complete contradiction. So maybe a majority of Americans approve of his policies because they don't freaking understand them. And it's hilarious, too, because the other day, when there was a lot of talk about Trump eliminating the Department of Education, I asked the person that I was talking to, the first thing I said to them, I was like, do you know what the Department of Education does? And of course they didn't, so they looked at me like I had 3 heads, then they looked at me like they had a double-digit IQ, and then they were like, what does the Department of Education do? And I said, oh, go figure, you don't even know what it does. The Department of Education is largely responsible for giving federal funds to state schools or state education departments. And it does exactly as it says here. If there is a school district that is not following the federal regulations, they withhold funding from those schools. So this idea that Trump is going to close the Department of Education is just blatantly stupid. The only way he could do this is by making some sort of declaration that the federal government is no longer going to give federal funds to state education programs. And that sort of seems like what he's saying here. We will send education back to the states. So you're going to protect the sports, the school sports, but at the same time, like I guess from a federal level, but at the same time you're saying that you're going to send education back to the states. Yeah, seems like something a complete moron would say. But I guess Trump is that moron, right? Anyway, let's move on to our next article, which actually we're going to have to go back to the past a little bit. And this one I know that nobody covered because I didn't hear anybody talk about it. Just crickets everywhere you go. Everywhere I looked, crickets. This article itself was only really on the page that I was looking at for maybe a 3.5 hour period, and then it was buried, never to be discussed or reviewed again. Until right now, of course. Don't worry, you all. You have me. So Trump's former CDC director makes bombshell COVID claim that there is real possibility the virus was born in North Carolina. I mean, this is a bombshell COVID claim. But did anybody report on it? Other than the Daily Mail and in a very subtle way, did anybody report on it at large? This should have been front page news. This should have been like the big headline that you see when you come to news sites like the Daily Mail. Instead, it was like this little article. Let me show you the Daily Mail. When you go to the Daily Mail, for those of you who have not been here, you got big articles like this. Let's see what we have here. Breaking news. Joe Rogan's brutal 5-word explanation for why liberal media is hemorrhaging audiences. Completely frivolous news story. Complete bullshit, right? So you got big old articles like that, but then you got small articles like this. And that's where that article was. It was one of these small articles, but it was one of these small articles like way down here. Okay, I'm not even going to bother reading these other articles here about looming silver tsunami that experts say is keeping them up at night. Okay, whatever. Bullshit fear-mongering news there. But yeah, so we had this article, which was not widely reported on, and basically Trump's former CDC director claims that there's a real possibility the virus was born in a North Carolina laboratory. And it's funny because this is the same North Carolina laboratory that the monkeys, there's like some monkeys that escaped from this laboratory. And I'm not sure if they even round up those monkeys yet. This town might still be on a semi-lockdown because you have like lab monkeys that are roaming around with diseases in them. So what's interesting though is that this was not news to me. This was not news to me at all because believe it or not, I try to stay awake and aware of everything that's going around me at all times.
Could this be a trap?
I always think everything could be a trap, which is why I'm still alive.
So let's check out this old article back to 2021, another article that was not widely reported on. It was probably another one of those small articles. So NIH researchers find more evidence that COVID was circulating in the US in December of 2019. I believe another piece of evidence actually was that they have evidence that shows that COVID was actually circulating as early as October of 2019. And this isn't like COVID virus in general. This is like this novel coronavirus. So let's read this a little bit, right? So researchers have found more evidence that coronavirus was circulating at low levels across the United States as early as December 2019, weeks before the official reported cases. And this is before the lockdowns. Remember, one of their claims for the lockdowns, well, they had several claims for why they were locking down. One of them was to reduce the hospitalization curve, like the hospitals were being overwhelmed. And if we lock down just for 2 weeks, I think that's what Big Daddy, Vax Daddy Trump said. We got to lock down for 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? We got to flatten the curve for 2 weeks, guys. That's all. Just for 2 weeks. But the other reason that they gave for the lockdowns was to actually reduce the spread of the virus. They're like, we gotta get ahead of this virus. We have to stop it from spreading. Because God forbid we let it spread and allow people to develop natural immunities before we get our vax ready to inject into everybody. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. We'll just make it like natural immunity doesn't matter. And anybody that mentions that natural immunity does matter, we'll just cancel them. We'll make sure that they can't make any money. And we'll make sure that they're like homeless, a crazy homeless person living on this street. Because that's how we treat our fellow Americans who are exercising their God-given right of free speech and self-expression. Oh, but don't worry, it wasn't the government, it was the businesses that the government gives license to. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How about the government institutes a law that if a business is exercising un-American activities, you pull their frickin' business license. You make it so that they cannot operate their business in America. easy solution, right? Oh, but that's right. All these lawmakers, or actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not all the lawmakers. It's the deep state. It's just the deep state stopping us, guys. There's not something fundamentally wrong with our Constitution and all the criminals in office. No, there's no conspiracy here. Nuh-uh, just the deep state. It's just a few individuals stopping progress and us from having a utopia. Nope, it's just a couple people, don't worry. So anyway, frozen blood samples indicated people in 5 states: Illinois, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Mississippi, and Massachusetts. This is all over the country, actually. Well, it's not all over. This is like the East Coast and like the mid-East Coast. Okay, so this is pretty much all over the country. I can guarantee you, if there are frozen blood samples that indicate that these 5 states had people that were infected with coronavirus days or weeks before any cases were officially reported in those states, if this is the case, then you can guarantee that there were other people who had it. It's just their blood wasn't frozen, so there's no real evidence. But we can infer that it's pretty obvious. Okay, so that's what happened, everybody. And are you going to hear about this? Are we ever going to make this connection? Are we ever going to provide justice to the hundreds of thousands, if not the millions of people who had their lives destroyed because of Vax Daddy Trump declaring a national emergency, which allowed all these other states to then create all kinds of draconian freaking legislation? Nope, not going to happen. Nope, not going to happen. Not until like a majority of us start waking up, which is most definitely not going to happen. So we can just count ourselves screwed. So anyway, let's look at our next article. Don't worry, guys, because guess what? The latest bird flu case has experts worried about a potential pandemic. Just in time for Vax Daddy Trump to come in and save the day with another warp speed initiative and maybe another lockdown and all kinds of human rights abuses. But don't worry, I have a religious exemption that applies to any and all of these vaccines. So if this happens again, I got you guys covered for free. That's right, because that's how I operate. Somebody here actually cares about humanity, and it isn't the cocksuckers that you're giving your tax money to. Okay, it's not those guys. It might be somebody else that has zero support. I'm sorry, not zero support. I had a couple people, 2 people. Yeah, 2 people. Only 2 people have ever donated money to me. Actually, 3, I'm sorry. Somebody gave me a $5 donation. Somebody gave me that $25 donation. And then years ago, somebody gave me a $50 donation because of my religious exemption video. Thank you to you 3 people. Everybody else. And actually, thank you to, some of my close friends. I thank you guys. You guys provide me good spiritual support. Okay, if it wasn't for you guys, who knows what I'd be doing and where I'd be right now. But, the rest of you, I got some few choice words for you guys. Just make sure you go keep giving these corporations your money, all these people that don't care. I hope you're going to Starbucks today, and you're getting, actually, I didn't even call them Starbucks. I hope you're going to $5 today, because you're going to be spending a minimum of $5 on anything that you get there, if not more. So yeah, just make sure you keep giving these cocksuckers your money. Remember, every dollar that you spend is a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. So yeah, keep giving those people your money, while people like me, who actually work their asses off to make this world a better place, struggle, work their ass off. But that's fine. I don't wish for an easy life. I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for the strength to endure a hard one. And damn, has God answered that prayer in spades, because I'm one tough cookie. Let's move on to our next article. Oh, that's right. This is this deception in the end times. I'm going to read a couple of these before we make a break for our next articles, because I believe our next articles, we're going to be digressing away from the Trumpism, the stupidity. So let's just read a couple of these, right? And by the way, I know the Bible was put together by them, but these are still pretty interesting. So, Bible verses about deception in the end times. No, I don't actually think that we're in the end times. I don't think that there will be an end times. I think that these cocksuckers will continue to drag us through ups and downs throughout history, causing suffering, and then making it like, they're the answer to our suffering. The Hegelian dialectic, very obvious, very basic stuff. So anyway, Matthew 24:24. For false Christ and false prophets will arise and will show great signs and wonders, so as to mislead, if possible, even the elect. And then 1 Timothy 4:1. But the Spirit explicitly says that in later times some will fall away from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and doctrines of demons. That's definitely what these people look like. I mean, if you look at a lot of these people, where's that Matt Gaetz picture? These guys definitely look like demons. Look at this guy. I don't even know who this is. But he just looks like a stone-cold-faced demon right there. Where's that Matt Gaetz buddy at? That guy definitely looks like a demon. That's right, he's over here. Look at this guy. Looks like a demon wearing a rubber mask. All right, let's not make fun of the way that people look, though, right? Let's return back to our Bible prophecies. 2 Timothy 4:3-4. For the time will come when they will not endorse sound doctrine, but wanting to have their ears tickled, they will accumulate for themselves teachers in accordance to their own desires, and will turn away their ears from the truth, and will turn aside to myths. Let no one in any way deceive you. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no one in any way deceive you, for it will not come unless the apostasy comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. We got many sons of destructions. They're all sons of bitches too. Anyway, I'm going to take a break actually from this, and I remember that there was a comment that I wanted to look at. So in my previous video, when I was talking about these sickos having these like underage relationships, and having these relationships with women that are like less than half their age, I had this guy comment, this piece of shit. And he commented to Drown the Poor, which is a really horrible handle. This guy's name is not Drown the Poor. This guy's name is, where's his name? This guy is Jason Hatche. Okay, and you can see he looks like a complete piece of shit. Jason, if you're watching this video, you look like a scumbag. If my daughter, which I don't have, came home with a boyfriend that looked like you, I would immediately forbid her from ever seeing you again. The look in your face, your whole profile picture, your goofy-ass facial hair that I'm sure you spend a lot of time crafting like some sort of narcissist, you look like a scumbag, all right? And not only do you look like a scumbag, but let's look at his comment, right? Oh, no. Okay, yeah, this is full comment, right? So, a 30-year-old woman is sleeping with a 70-year-old for one reason. She gets money, nice things, vacations. This is how things have always worked. Oh, great. Appeal to, popularity? Appeal to the past? Oh, it always worked like this. So let's not think about it. Let's not have any philosophical input into these things that have always been this way. Politicians have always screwed over the people, so we should just lie back and be apathetic about it and accept it like little spineless worms, right? Anyway, let's continue, right? So this is how things have always worked. He is no worse or better than she is. She's 30, not 18. Unless you're saying that at age 30, she's impressionable, childish, and can't make her own decisions of who she dates. So this is my response. Interesting. I explained exactly what I think is wrong with the relationship on a philosophical level. Yet you seem to not have got it. Why of all things I mentioned in the video did you focus on that relatively frivolous opinion of mine? Is it because it struck a personal note with you? Is it because you desire to have a similar relationship with someone who is less than half your age? Coupled your fixation with that part of the video and the way you look in your picture, I forgot to put and here, but I should have put and, I'd say the answer to that question is 100% yes. You look like a total creep. Yeah, dude, you look like a total creep, buddy. And people don't realize this, but I hate to brag, but I'm like a master at analyzing a person's psychology. You know, tell me what you pay attention to, I'll tell you who you are. And this guy just basically revealed a lot to me. And a similar thing, I'll make a little digression, happened to me at one of my jobs the other day. Somebody had told me about a guy that I think their sister or a friend of theirs was in a relationship with, and he said that this guy was actually, unironically, an advocate of monarchies. And like, he went on, he told me about how this guy, advocated for monarchies and basically kingships and stuff. And then after he told me that, I was like, you know what that says about him, right? He was like, what? I'm like, it says that he's probably a very anal person. He probably is a control freak. And the dude was like, oh man, no way. That's why this person broke up with him, because he was an anal control freak. So please, if you're going to comment, be ready for me to psychoanalyze you and then expose you to the world. So let's just look at a picture of this guy again, this total creep, Jason Hachi. You're a weirdo, dude. Of all the things that I talked about in this video, I talked about a lot of things in this video, you fixated on this. You're a weirdo, dude. A very weird person. Anyway, enough picking on the small-minded individual that commented on my video. And by the way, I have another comment that I want to make another video about, but I'll be making that video in the future because it's about the income tax amendment. So I want to make a whole video about that. This guy commented on my income tax video thinking he was like the bee's knees, thinking that he knew more than I did, and I just completely decimated his argument. It's hilarious. You guys will see that comment in a future video that I make. But anyway, let's move on. So Biden gives Zelensky the green light to fire long-range American missiles into Russia for the first time. So you have to ask yourself, why did this happen? A lot of people are like, Biden doesn't care, man. Biden's just trying to, like, create hell before he leaves office, man. Because most people are just, they can't make the connection. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something divine that's preventing them from making that connection. You know, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I do believe in a divinity out there. I do believe in a force that we all are tied to. And I think that it does control a lot of the happenings that go on in this world. But I don't know what it is, but people just can't make the connection. So I'll make the connection for you guys. I'll make a nice, easy, overt connection. This was planned, and I'm sure Trump loves this, because if Biden does happen to start war with Russia, Trump, when he goes into office, he's not going to back out of that war. He's not going to end the war with Russia. No, he'll go into office, and whatever damage is done before, like, he enters office, like, let's say American personnel, like military personnel, dies before Trump gets into office. He'll just capitalize on that, fixate on that, and then be like, oh, well, Biden forced me into this position. It's not my fault. I can't take responsibility for my own actions. No, it's Biden's fault. And Trump sort of does that in his Joe Rogan interview. He's like, when he's talking to Joe Rogan, I only really watched like the first 20 minutes of it, and I was like, man, this is garbage. But in that interview, he's like, oh, I had to do this. I had to choose this person. I had to choose these appointments. And it's like, no, dude, you didn't, actually. You're just making excuses for yourself because people are dumb enough to buy those excuses. And if you don't think that these guys are working for the same team, all you got to do is look at the way that they shake each other's hands. Let's first look at the Masonic handshake. The Masonic handshake is a sign of recognition and commitment among Freemasons, the world's oldest fraternal organization. Symbolism. The handshake represents a commitment to brotherly love, relief, and truth. It also requires treating others with respect and working on self-improvement. Here's an example of one. This is the Grand Lodge of Virginia. Here's kind of a list of the different types of grips and their meaning. Here's Trump totally pulling one off with Putin. Now let's watch the handshake that Trump gives to Biden when they met at the White House.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President,
Thank you.
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you.
And looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
welcome
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank
And it's interesting, if you listen very closely, Biden says to him, we're going to get you accommodated with what you need, and we'll be talking about that later on. Well, what he needs is for you to act like you're the one starting the war with Russia, so when he comes into office, he has plausible deniability. And the other reason that Biden probably approved this is because Ukraine is getting their asses kicked, and they're probably trying to, trigger Putin into starting a larger war that can bring the rest of NATO in. Why do I say this? Well, if you look at the Kursk offensive, Kursk is this region of Russia that Ukraine pushed into. It's in the northern part of Ukraine. And Ukraine managed to push pretty deep into this Kursk region. But now Russia's been pushing them back for quite some time. For at least the last couple of weeks, Ukraine has been getting their asses handed to them. So this is some sort of desperate attempt to sort of salvage what is left of Ukraine and try to drag NATO in, because Ukraine realizes that they can't beat Russia on their own. No matter how many weapons we send there, no matter how many hundreds of billions of supplies and financial assistance we give to them, they cannot beat Russia. And I know some people are probably like, but wait a second, if Putin is in the same club as all of them, how does any of this make sense? Well, it's very tricky. Essentially, they need two different backup stories for why they're doing their action that diverts away from the actual story, which is that they're all in this together to make humanity miserable and to keep power in their own hands. So of course they need to have oh, this is their side of the story, oh, this is their side of the story, but in truth, they're all working on the same side. It's either that, or it could be that they're all in the same club, but they could still kind of like feud for power of who's going to be at the top of that club. I haven't entirely figured it out. These people are all kinds of deranged. What they do doesn't entirely make sense to the average person, and that's how it's supposed to be. If it made sense, then we'd be able to more easily figure them out and have all of this flushed away. It's not supposed to make sense, supposed to keep us in this state of confusion. But anyway, let's move on to our next article. And this is actually a good news article right here. Vasectomies rise 1,200% after Donald Trump election win. And it's not that the vasectomies rose 1,200%. It's vasectomy appointments rose 1,200%. And I say, thank God, man. Hopefully this will stem us entering the age of idiocracy. Because I'm confident most of these people who signed up for this, they can't be too smart. Okay, so I'm hoping that, please go through with your appointment. While you're getting a vasectomy, please, if you can ask them to also just cut your head off. Just say, hey, can you actually, not cut your head off. I don't wish death upon anybody. But ask for a head transplant. Maybe if you can find like a brain of, just dig up a rotting brain, because your brain's already rotted. So maybe we can dig up an already dead brain, and then you can get a head transplant or a brain transplant. And then maybe that person that died, of course, will target people who died tragic and unexpected deaths. Maybe they'll have another chance to another chance at life. Maybe that's possible. I mean, there won't be much of a difference. These people's brains are dead.
Yeah, I'll give you a comment. Their minds are dead.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, their minds are dead.
So might as well just replace their already dead brains with other dead brains. Right? I think that makes sense. We should get on board with that. Anyway, we got an update on this article that I believe I covered. If I didn't cover this article last week, I definitely covered it the week before. I don't know why they're still referring to this lady as a power lesbian, but somebody in the comments was all like, why are they calling her a power lesbian? Actually, I think they were like, what is a power lesbian? But anyway, this total psychopath, Cory Burke, supported by upbeat wife as their, and wife, there should be quotes around there, as they're seen for first time since election ICE axe murder. So check this out, right? So alleged killer Cory Burke was supported by her wife during her first court appearance for the murder of her ailing father on election night. Burke, 33, appeared calm as she entered a not guilty plea during her arraignment. Yet she entered a not guilty plea, even though she's already told cops how she felt liberated after killing her father. And I think it's because he had left the light on or something. Some ridiculous thing. It seems like what happened is on election night, Trump winning triggered her psychotic nature, and she had to kill something. So she went and she killed her own father. She was accused of killing her 67-year-old father, Timothy Burke, with an ice axe after he refused to turn the lights off on November 6th in Seattle. I'm sure what happened was he was probably watching the election and hoping Trump was going to win, or excited that Trump was winning. She was probably no, we have to turn off the lights. And she's trying to live in denial and shut off all the lights and not have to see that Trump was winning. So then she decided to kill him because he wanted to stay up, I guess, watch the election or something. Her wife, prominent trans writer Samantha Leigh Allen, attended the hearing and was pictured laughing with friends. Allen tried to hide her face with a notebook during the court proceedings. Allen is the transgender wife. The couple did not seem to acknowledge each other as the court was divided by glass, with the public gallery listening via speakers. Burke, okay, so what's interesting, I'm just going to read the article real quick. Here's the weirdo. They're laughing over here. They're so happy that somebody was brutally murdered. Look at these soulless demons over here. They're all happy. They're all cheering and stuff, all excited and stuff. It looks like we have I'm not even going to say it, actually. So what's interesting, though, is that this person, it's hiding its face while laughing. It's look, I got a little book. I'm gonna hide my face from laughing. I guess at this point, it realized that the cameras were catching it laughing or whatever. So what's interesting, though, is that it turns out that it was actually at the house with her on the night of this brutal murder. So it's this person here, I guess watched this murder go on and did nothing. I guess encouraged it. Who knows? Maybe it was just hanging out and laughing in the corner like it's doing over here. It probably had this exact same look, oh man, maybe hit him with the axe again. I'm curious if it was encouraging the lady who actually did the killing. while the killing was going on. Because it was there. According to the neighbors, like, the neighbors said that they never seen this person like at the house before. But apparently they're married, they were living with the father, and it was there at the night of the murder, and did nothing to stop it. Okay, this is them. Right here, more pictures of them. And what's interesting is, as I covered in the previous article, the person who did the murdering claims that, like, on her 33rd birthday, she felt reborn. And what's also interesting is actually her employment. Where's the employment of the murderer? It mentions the employment of the murderer, and it's like, that's some prestigious place. Oh yeah, she works for Jeff Bezos. Burke, an employee at Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space company. So it's like, obviously they're not vetting their employees very well. Maybe you might want to, like, conduct some psychological tests there. Unless it's a DEI hire, which it probably is. But anyway, let's go to our next article, which of course is crashed. I have to get going to my other job real soon. But it looks like I'll have enough time to cover the rest of the articles. So, mom can proceed with gender-affirming care. I love this name, gender-affirming. We are affirming your gender. Care of preteen son dealing dad brutal blow after years-long fight. Lost all parental rights. So this mother wants to give her son a chemical castration where, like, the child keeps its genitalia, but puberty blockers prevent it from, like, developing any further. Now, interestingly enough, like, let's check this out. So chemical castration involves the use of puberty-blocking drugs to stop sex hormone production. Unlike surgical castration, chemical castration does not remove organs. While the Department of Health and Human Services claims this practice is reversible, okay, the long-term sexual side effects are unknown. So then why are you saying that it's reversible if you guys actually don't know the long-term sexual side effects? Idiots. Studies have also reported symptoms such as loss of bone density. How is this not child abuse? Now, what's really interesting is this lady, the one who's pushing this chemical castration, is a pediatrician. Here's the picture of the psychotic demon over here. Just, I mean, I can say so many things about everything going on here. I mean, so much, but pediatrician Anne Gorgulis has been attempting to transition her son to a female since he was as young as 5 years old. I bet most of you don't even remember being 5 years old. I remember being 5 years old. I have a really good memory. My memory actually goes all the way back to, like, when I was, like, 3 years old. It's incredible. Sometimes, like, I'll mention something to a relative and be like, hey, do you remember, like, when this happened? And, like, most of them don't remember. And then, like, one of them be like, damn, I remember that. Like, an older relative be like, how the hell do you remember that? I have a damn good memory. But most people don't even remember being 5 years old. Okay, they haven't, like, reached cognition at that point. Their brains are still underdeveloped. They're not even fully cognitive. Okay, but this lady, she's all like, yeah, man, my son totally knew that he was a chick at 5 years old. And she's been pushing that shit since he was 5 years old. Some sick people out there, man. Some sick people.
Just a sick world we're living in. Sick people.
Anyway, let's... that's right. Let me just remind everybody of an article that I covered, I believe it was last week. Actually, wait. Is this article? Yeah, actually, let's cover this article, and then I'll cover the one that I mentioned last week, which is in context with these articles. So, trans woman asks followers to assassinate J.K. Rowling and Nancy Mason. Shocking call to arms. Completely unhinged. Now, I'm not saying that all transgender people are this way. I actually have a friend that is transgender. Well, it's an acquaintance. We're on good terms. And I hold nothing against the person. I think the person's actually very level-headed. They are actually a little self-critical and stuff. They do their own thing. So, once again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do not group people. I do not judge people in groups. I judge individuals. However, there is this article that we covered last week, and I think it ties perfectly into this psychotic pediatrician over here, and that is that woke doctor refused to publish $10 million trans kid study that showed puberty blockers didn't help mental health.
Okay. That's okay, right?
Sad. Okay?
So what's the excuse for pushing puberty blockers? I mean, it's known. Well, how about you guys actually publish this study? This should be, like, all kinds of illegal. You guys are poisoning the well of knowledge. You guys are corrupting the minds of the youth. You should be made to drink poison like Socrates was made to drink poison, according to the story. And I'm not saying that Socrates deserved to drink poison. I'm just saying that they apparently made him drink poison in ancient Greece because they accused him of corrupting the minds of the youth. We should maybe bring such a punishment back for certain individuals. Anyway, moving on to our next article. We're almost at the end here. French TV channel fined for calling abortion the world's leading cause of death. So we got this French TV channel in February 2024. This presenter during a Catholic program, this is the title of it. I don't read French. I'm not going to try to read it. Broadcast every Sunday on the conservative channel C News, showed an infographic on the causes of death, ranking abortion as the leading cause with 73 million deaths each year worldwide.
Of course not. This is a lovely room of death. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
That translates to 52% of annual deaths, far ahead of cancer, 10 million, and smoking, 6.2 million. I didn't even know that this many abortions were carried out every year. It's not too surprising. Do I agree with this assessment that it counts as death? I don't know. You're sort of aborting the life. It's kind of in the term. You're aborting the life. So, it's kind of like pulling out, the word abort means to back out of something before it's fully initiated. But it's debatable. I can understand why people see it this way. But, I just think that is an interesting topic to discuss. But yeah, they were fined for calling abortion the world's leading cause of death. How dare you exercise your God-given right to free speech and self-expression? That's right. In French, well, we don't have that. We don't have that right over here. It's not enshrined in our Constitution. It's yeah, asshole, but it's obviously a God-given thing. It makes sense for us to have this right on a natural and philosophical level. I don't give a fuck if it's enshrined in your Constitution or not. Just think for a second, people. Anyway, let's move on to our next article, which I thought was really interesting. So, Tom's of Maine toothpaste made with bacteria-contaminated water, says FDA. So the FDA did an inspection of their facilities, and they found, and not just their facilities, but a couple of their toothpaste, and they found super fucking deadly mold. Black mold-like substance, okay? And there's several different bacteria and molds that they found, all of which are horrible. It wasn't in all of the Tom's of Maine products. I think that they list 2 products. But the thing is that it was also in their water. It was in their water. They were also fined for not having the right standards for protecting against this stuff. Weird stuff. This really hit home with me because this was actually a toothpaste that I was using. And I've noticed some health effects on my part. I was man, I wonder if it could be potentially linked with this. So I stopped using it for the time being. And what's interesting is it happened a long time ago. They didn't recall any of the Tom's of Maine stuff. They waited fucking months to cover this. They're only covering it now in November, when this report was already known about. I think they said May. It could have been earlier though. It doesn't matter. It sucks though. All right, let's see our next article. I forgot what it was. The webpage has crashed. Oh yeah, that's right. We got this one. This is just pathetic. Humanity has just degraded to such a pathetic level. When you look at what our founding fathers did, and release the honorable, noble ones, the one that actually were standing up for noble causes, because most of them were part of the club. But let's check this out, right? So, hero FDNY Chaplain who died of 9/11 related cancer, honored with plaque. He touched people. Kind of an inappropriate headline. But it's interesting. You honor him with a plaque. How about honoring him by getting the cocksuckers that led to these 9/11 illnesses? How about bringing some justice to those people? How about instead of honoring him, you bring some justice to him? For those of you who don't know, after 9/11, the EPA was all oh, the air is clean. Don't worry, everybody. There were people complaining of illnesses and stuff. And the EPA was no, the air is clean. I've covered this in previous videos. The air is clean. Don't worry. There's nothing wrong. Those buildings totally weren't loaded with asbestos. The ones we just illegally demolished. Those ones. Yeah. No asbestos was in them. The air's perfectly clean. Oh, yeah. The nanothermite that created these fumes from basically creating gaseous metals. Yeah. Don't pay attention to any of that stuff. You guys should definitely check out my video, what the hell is that? My 9/11 video? Because that to me is just like foolproof evidence that there was something going on there that was basically evaporating this metal, like turning it white hot and causing it to evaporate into that gaseous state. And it explains why the base of it was hot for so long. There was some crazy shit going on over there. But yeah, more people have died of these 9/11 related illnesses. And instead of these dumb sheep actually trying to get justice for them, they're happy with the money payouts. So like, oh, well, our justice is, they have funds, they're paying stuff. It's like, no, dude. People gotta hang, man. People gotta hang for that stuff. But no, you guys are happy. You guys are content with yourselves. You made a plaque for him. Oh, good job. I'm sure he's up in heaven looking down. I'm so grateful for you guys. Alrighty, let's look at our next article. I'm running out of breath. I'm running out of steam here. New York polls eyeing ending obscene Hollywood subsidies, but not to cut the taxpayers a break. No, they're not that. So check this out. I didn't even know this. So dusting off a year-old report that confirms the $700 million tax credit doesn't remotely generate enough economic benefits to justify the expense. So yeah, they were giving these Hollywood companies $700 million tax break. I mean, I'm not a big fan of taxes, but those are like direct taxes. Like, I'm against income tax. I do know that there's like some taxation to some degree is necessary to maintain a civilized society. So I'm not entirely against taxes. I am against like direct taxes that you can't possibly avoid, like income tax and such. But this is insane. $700 million tax break for Hollywood. Do the plebs get any sort of tax breaks? Can I apply for a tax break just being like a human being and like a citizen and like a good citizen? Absolutely not. I don't work for Hollywood. I actually have a soul. I guess these tax breaks only go for those people who are soulless demons. Is that it? Man, I should have just sold my soul to the devil. Where do I line up for that? I'm just kidding. I would never do that. So a Portland woman tells accused homeless thieves it's okay to steal from rich scum, just not her. So check out this story. Let's look at this video. Actually, let's look at the full video. It's funny because you can tell how uncomfortable she is in this video by how like she's trying to keep her distance. You can tell like the way she's standing. She's like trying to keep her distance. And look, now she's like, look at her. This is what I was talking about. So they stole her iPhone, and then like she's all like, "Oh, like I'm totally for like stealing from rich scum," and but that's that. And then she's like, "But I'm nice and honest." You guys got to come check out this video. She talks like a complete deranged lunatic whose brain isn't even fully connected to her spine. Like there's got to be like a missing connection or two there. It's pathetic. She's a pathetic human being, lady. If you see this video, you're pathetic. But don't worry. You're not alone. We got hundreds of millions of other pathetic human beings to keep you company. So anyway, going back to this sort of topic, I forgot that it was all the way over here. I was actually supposed to move this article to the front with the other articles that fall under this category. But Vanity Fair under fire for glorifying Cormac McCarthy's sexual relationship with underage muse. I never really liked this guy, Cormac McCarthy. I read his book. What was that book's name? I don't even remember. It wasn't even worth remembering the name of it. I read it. This guy's a scumbag. Let's see if they mention the title of one of his books, his famous book here. No. The dude's a scumbag. Okay, so he died last year. That's why they're finally talking about it. It's incredible. This ties back to what Matt Gaetz said. Oh, if I was guilty of these smears, I'd be in jail. No, buddy, we live in a two-tier justice system. Look at this shit here. This guy, he lived his whole life, man, underage sexual relationships over here. Did he ever see jail? Nope, definitely not. Well, but don't worry, I'm Matt Gaetz. If I was guilty of these smears, then I'd be in jail. Barney acknowledges in the article that McCarthy was at one point the subject of an FBI search after running away with Britt. So yeah, I mean, this is something that it's not like it was unknown. Okay, it was known. The FBI was aware of it. Other people, it was a very well-known thing. Sick people. Let's see. It was 50 years ago. Different times. No one considered a 17-year-old a child back then. We were young adults and far more mature than today's infantilized 17-year-olds. No, you guys weren't. If you guys were young adults, you wouldn't be letting the shit that happened in your time happen and then led up to what's happening today. You guys are still little children because of the way you act and the things that you let your government get away with. A bunch of little babies, if you ask me. A bunch of infantile brain little scumbags. I mean, I have such disdain for so many adults who are so focused on themselves and care so little for their fellow man, for humanity and the world at large. It's pathetic. It's sad. And you want to go ahead and hate me for calling them all out. Because guess what? At least I try to stand up for my fellow man. At least I stand up for humanity. At least I do what I can to expose the evil in this world. These demons. Am I wrong for that? Well, guess what? I don't care if you're judging me. If you are the scumbags judging me, judge away. But after you judge me, take a hard look in the mirror. It's actually funny. I want to write a book. I want to write a book. It's an autobiography. If I do write an autobiography, it's going to be titled, How to Have Everyone Hate You and Be Okay With It. Subtitled, An Autobiography. And I'd basically be talking about like all the scumbags in the world. All the scumbags I've dealt with in my life. All the scumbags I've observed and analyzed. Pathetic. Trust me, if you guys hate me, it's not going to weigh on my shoulders. I'd be perfectly comfortable being an outcast in a world of mad people like this. It's like the quote goes, being healthy in a profoundly sick world is no measure of good health. Or being like mentally healthy in a profoundly sick world is no measure of good health. I believe that's the quote. Oh man, I got way more articles to cover than I thought, and I got like very little time to go to work. All right, I got to cover this article here. So Simone Biles debuts new look as she wows at CMEs, but NFL husband Jonathan Owens is nowhere to be seen. So check this out. I love it. I've seen a lot of articles like this. Like I've seen a lot of articles that try to flatter like other celebrities that are just not attractive.
How can you say no to that?
And it's like, dude, are we looking at the same thing? Are my eyes correct? Are my eyes deceiving me? Is there something wrong with my vision? I mean, I don't wear glasses. I have excellent vision. But maybe there's something wrong with me. I mean, because when I look at this, I just don't see a person that's wowing in their new outfit. And it has nothing to do with like her ethnicity, okay? It has nothing to do with that at all. I think that there are many women who fall under this ethnicity that are drop dead gorgeous that I would fall to my knees in front of. But this person here, oh my goodness. Boy, are you ugly. All right, let me not be a bully. I feel like I'm being a bully. I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry. That was wrong of me. You guys can judge me for that. That's wrong. So, warning, as potentially cancerous new chemical is found in tap water in tens of millions of homes. Guess what? It's not tens of millions of homes. It's 113 million people. It's like 1/3 of the United States population is being exposed to this chemical. And it's funny too because they're all like, a colon cancer epidemic. We can't figure out why all of these young people are getting bowel cancer and colon cancer. It's a mystery. Could it be the microplastics? Could it be the chemicals that you're dumping into the water supply? Could it be the pesticides that you're spraying on all the fruits and that's in most of the grain food because you're spraying it on the crops and it's everywhere? Oh no, it can't be possibly any of those pesticides or chemicals or any of the actions of our government. No, because our government is perfect. You know, they're keeping us safe. It has to be some other mystery. Maybe it's aliens. It's a mystery, a real head scratcher. So anyway, we got this potentially cancerous chemical has been discovered in drinking water consumed by tens of millions of Americans. It's 113 million Americans at least. It's probably a lot more. So known as chlorotramide anion. The compound is released when a popular disinfectant called chloramine, a mix of chlorine and ammonia, naturally decomposes. Around 1/3 of homes in the U.S. are supplied with this treated water, which is the equivalent of about 113 million people. Oh yeah, it is 1/3 of the United States population. Look at that.
No! Why, God? Why?
Oh, yeah. I can't figure out why people are getting colon cancer left and right. Oh, it's so confusing. Mystery. Let's not make this connection in the article. Let's just put out this news and then not make any connections. I hate that about the news. It's like, how about we connect these various news stories, like, people that can think. It's funny because my favorite philosopher, he says that we shouldn't be called the Homo sapien. We shouldn't be called the thinking animal. We should be called the I think it was like the Homo incipus. I forget exactly what the scientific word is, but it translates to man the not knowing. And he says, like, calling us Homo sapiens, calling us, or the Homo sapien, calling us like the thinking animal or the thinking man, it confuses it. Because we're actually not naturally thinking. We only think when we have to think. And we only think when we don't know. We think because we don't know. So he's like, yeah, we should be called the Homo incipus. I forget the exact word. But I think that's a much better, like, match. We are the not knowing animal. And it seems like many of us are perfectly content with that. Anyway, next article. And this is a perfect example talking about stupidity on a mass scale. So NFL legend Michael Irvin claims Jake Paul Mike Tyson was rigged due to a secret contract clause. So apparently there was like a clause, I think it was like a no knockout clause, or I think it's like an uppercut clause. Yeah, I think he's like, oh yeah, that Mike Tyson was told that he couldn't do uppercuts. I read the article, I forget exactly what it was, but I also read, the uppercut clause. And then somebody had also said that there was another clause that like forbid them knocking each other out. So they weren't supposed to knock each other out. Now this is obvious. You don't need to see some clause. If you have eyes, and if those eyes are connected to a brain, then you should have been able to figure this out. You could have been able to figure out that this is all a circus show. Now, what's really interesting about this is I've known this for a long time. Like 99.9% of sports matches are staged. It's all choreographed. Now, what's interesting is that I saw this video. There was this John Jones does the Trump dance after defeating this douchebag, right, with a spinning back kick. And when I was watching this video, I'm like, man, I've been in a couple fights. I train. I'm pretty damn good at fighting. I know how to hold my own. And I know for damn sure that ain't nobody throwing. And I know for damn sure. Sorry about the volume. I know for damn sure. People do not fight like this. People who are seriously fighting, especially professional fighters, look at these punches. Look how soft that punch is. You see that soft-ass left? That one was a little bit hard, but they're still holding back these punches. Oh, yeah, let me totally drop my guard. Oh, let's play patty cake. We're going to play some patty cake. Oh, patty cake, patty cake.
You serious?
Oh, yeah, look. I know you're going to kick me. I'm going to prepare for that instead of defending myself. Oh, he sidekicked me. Oh, we also had a no knockout clause. Oh, no, he's punching me. Oh, let's move the camera so we can't see how soft he's punching him. And this clown dances. Oh, I did the Trump dance. And Trump is like in the audience over here. And it's just pathetic. It's so pathetic that like there are millions of people who see this stuff and they can't make the connection that this is obviously staged, that this is obviously choreographed, that there are obviously contracts going on behind the scene. Nope, instead they just go there, they get drunk, they watch it with their friends all drunk, bunch of drunken idiots. Anyway, our next article, we're almost at the end here and I gotta fucking get going. Scientists reveal why some people cheat on their partners, and it could explain why Kris Jenner, Bill Gates, and Bill Clinton had affairs. And basically, it's like the most obvious shit. It's like, oh yeah, that these arrogant people, it's like when it comes to famous affairs, Bill Clinton's, okay, whatever, sexual relation. Now, research suggests that Clinton's powerful position as U.S. president may have influenced his affair. You think? So it's hilarious. They actually had to do research to do this. That means that they received, like, I'm sure millions of dollars. I'm sure that they didn't do this research with just a couple $100,000s. Because there's a lot of people that are part of this research. All of them have way overinflated government budgets probably, or getting government grants and stuff. And it's basically just to say, oh yeah, when people have overinflated egos, when they're in powerful positions, when they feel like they have power, they become scumbags, they become moralist, soulless demons who have no integrity, and, they go around, they cheat. I mean, just look at these people. Soulless, demon. Soulless demon. It's so obvious. Let's see some of the comments. Let's see. It's much simpler, really. More successful people tend to have more money and the financial means to risk or walk away from a relationship when it hits rocky ground. No, it's not that. It's just that it destroys their integrity. Okay, power corrupts. These are all corrupt individuals who have no moral compass. They're just self-indulgent demons who have no business being in a position of power. I mean, hell, we need to totally restructure our system, but I'm not even going to get into that. All right, let's not get into that. So, doctors, and this is another just absolutely ridiculous story here. Doctors warn of rise in bizarre winter penis, which causes organ to shrink by up to 50%. Here's how to avoid it. So guess what this article is about? This is just about the fact that when a dude gets cold, his junk down there tries to like pull in a little bit to seek warmth. Something that has been known forever. Let's check out some of these comments. We weren't worried about a few months of humility. Many others are less fortunate. Their winters follow them throughout the other seasons. Oh yeah, this is like a joke. It's like basically saying like some people have like small dicks all year long, which I think is hilarious. I was prescribed really did help with the winter weather. Whatever. Oh, my cock's a floppin'. That's hilarious. I was prescribed my cock's a floppin'. Really did help with the winter weather. This guy's a genius. Thank you so much for the laugh, Jim. Good stuff. That's really funny. Thanks for making me laugh out loud. A good start to the day. No, seriously, thank you for making us all laugh there. Fortunately, I don't need to be prescribed that because my cock's always flopping, right? So anyway, let's move on to our last article over here. Actually, it's the same article. All right, so that's it. That's the end of This Week in Trump, or This Week in Stupid, or This Week in Madness, whatever you want to title it. Hope you all enjoyed it. I got to end this video now because my voice is done. I'm like totally burnt out right now, and I got to go run out to a job. I got a job to be at like an hour. Maybe I can eat lunch. I'll have to like edit this, probably spend like the rest of the day editing it. Fortunately, I did a lot of my other job, or at least the job I have to bring home with me. I did a lot of it yesterday. But anyway, let me get the fuck out of here. You all stay happy, you all stay healthy, and most importantly, you all stay sharp.
That was a great show.